I've been so looking forward to talking with you, Salwa. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's kind of like divine timing. I know we were kind of talking about it, but it just was meant to be like now. Perfect
I
timing.
know. I think the spirits are sending us some signs, right? Like we
They're
had some
fine. They're orchestrating. We're just we're like they're like,
orchestrating.
we're like the puppets. They're the puppeteers. They're like, all right, let's go do this. Yeah, on.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're such a dear soul sister that, oh my gosh, you know how I feel about you. You've been there for me in some low moments. We've walked together in different, oh gosh. I've been to some of your activations, your divine sweats. We'll talk about that and your new podcast, which I can't wait for others to tune into. It's the Why and Spirits. Why and Spirits. I want to hear all about the things you're creating and this conversation. I really appreciate you being here. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing your space. I know how much this means to you, so it's an honor to be here.
Yeah. So for those who don't really know you and, as an ascension guide, some people may be like, what is an ascension guide? I'm hoping we can kind of break some things down for those who are listening who are just learning about you. You're a light code activator. And that's
Mhm.
another term. I'm sure people are like, okay, what is a light code activator? um, would you
Most
kind of
people would be.
share a little bit about kind of who you are in the world?
Whoa, that's a big. Who am I in the world?
We're just kicking it off big.
How much time do we have? No. Well, to bring it back to your terms and even to
Yeah,
tie in the portal cast, because the wine and spirits
yeah,
is a portal cast, it's
yeah.
all a big thing that my guides have wanted me to help people through is going beyond the story. Because we're all in these stories, and these stories kind of create our state of being, or because we have a story that we're living out that's either happy, sad, it's challenging, it's successful. So if we go beyond the story, we're really light manifesting. So we're manifesting our experience. And what I realized through my years in my business, which started in the female empowerment realm, which I now is just self-empowerment, what we've been doing all along through different stories and different roles, whether it was fashion design, dance,
Mhm.
empowerment coaching, whatever, it's always been guiding others through their ascension. And even the ways that I show up for that job have been ascending. So it was kind of gifted to me, like, this is what you are. Like, go beyond the story. Don't worry so much about what you're doing in the current moment. Because as you know, you follow me, I do a lot of different things. It's just
Yeah.
like a lot of energy. So my business has a lot of manifestations of that energy. But at the end of the day, it's all there to help guide others through ascension, whether it's, one-on-one, whether it's a dance activation, a retreat, whatever. That's what it's for. And I do work a lot with codes, and I know that that's getting a little bit beyond where maybe a lot of people are ready to receive. If I was to talk to you and say, I can draw your codes and I know, like, I can channel some light codes and help you unlock that. Like, what?
Yeah.
But but what's been shown to me is that there's a way to do that light code work that doesn't have to be so out there. And a lot of times we carry codes in our work. You doing this, you helping women in their journey. If we go deep, deep into the journey of the light code that you are, it's codes, and you're breaking through some codes and into new ones, and you're activated as your codes kind of click into place. And so that part can get a little bit out there, but at the end of the day, because we're light and we have different codes in our DNA. We showed up here carrying frequency of other star seeds, and it's more complex than you're a
Mm.
boy, you're a girl, you're Indian, you're Latin. Like, we are light codes. So let's like break it down.
Yeah, I love this so much. I mean, we go really deep. We
Yeah.
are all light, and this podcast is all about keeping the light alive on your path to motherhood as we're calling in these souls. And so, light codes, can you explain that a little bit more? Light codes, how we all are channeling light codes from the divine?
Well,
Like,
not everybody is channeling light codes from the divine necessarily, but you do encompass light codes. And so think of our DNA, and that is a big part of who we are. But to the human brain and capacity, we haven't even began to talk about most of it. Like, we really haven't. There's so much stored there that we bring from several lifetimes, from several incarnations, and from several, I mean, beyond planet Earth. Let's just put it that way. So to
mm,
me, I understand that as we're ushering in this new earth and we're beyond, coming into peace and love and harmony, we're actually coming into being like the light beings that we are. And with that comes the discovering and the activation of our light code essence. And there's parts of it that are not to be really understood. Even when I have been, channeling some codes and doing work, even I, like my guides, because the first time, and I won't go into how I kind of initiated into that gift, but there was a part of me that was like, you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Like I wanted to know what was coming out because I could feel the vibration. And I was, I knew that it was a gift that I wanted to tap into because I knew how it served. But I also know that the human brain doesn't have the capacity to unlock all of it, and it's not meant to. There's a part of that's, faith. So if
Mm.
you have a desire to really understand it so much so that you can put it on paper and understand it, then where's the faith? Where's the
Mm.
faith in knowing that you're just a conduit for the divine to work through you? And there's parts of it that you are meant to understand. And the biggest part is really the role that you play in being pure and being in your power so you can be a conduit for the divine. But if you
Mm.
start wanting to really like translate everything and, Google it, like you can't Google this shit. So there's
No,
no
no.
Googling.
Yeah.
So it's really consciousness at a level that really bypasses the human understanding. And then it's a heart so open that you relinquish that control and need to understand because it's a force bigger than you, but it's also a force that's within you. And that oneness just is an open-hearted, control-free sense of being. And that's what we're working towards right now
Mm.
on this planet.
Oh my gosh, you're speaking to my soul. Like I feel this like light expansion whenever I'm in your energy and talking to you. You do through your words and your energy, speaking to our. I don't have the words. Like
I love that. Yes, we love that. When people don't have words, it's like, yes, because that's energy and it's a feel.
yeah, yeah.
Speaking is an expression, but we are here to be, and that requires just feeling. So sometimes, like words can really
Mm.
spoil the magic. Sometimes, and I love words.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like, look at me. I'm like blah, 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 blah. But sometimes just being is the
It
magic.
is. Being is the magic. Something you and I've connected on. And when I reached out to you, sharing about my podcast, the moon group I was creating, all the different things, and the women I was calling in to support, like you too have a passion to support women who want to be moms. And one of the things that you shared with me about the kids that we're ushering in today, the kids that are coming into being today, that you've said they're on another level.
Mhm.
Losing my voice. They're on another level. And you've talked about crystals, rainbows, indigos. Like, I want to dive into this a little bit more because I think so many women who are on this path, like whether you're going through IVF or different fertility challenges, like this, I want you to share what you're seeing and what these special beings
Mhm.
they want to be here and the significant time we're living in. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. So put it, at the most foundational being the children are the new children, which are not so new anymore because it started with Blu-rays and indigos. I'm an indigo. We were like 80s, some 70s was the big bulk of when indigos came in, but this is pretty much the consciousness in human form. And because this all started happening after World War II, that is when our higher beings that cannot interfere were watching humanity go, like spiral, throwing atomic bombs and doing things that are not serving humanity. And so that was a way of giving Earth help, assistance, support without fully interfering. I mean, and now I'm speaking just assuming that we're in a safe space where no one's going to click off if they don't believe that there's star family up there, or if you don't believe, then listen for entertainment. But there's higher beings watching humanity and shit hit the fan and be like, well, we can't interfere, but we can send support through humanity. And so the waves through which they came and they send the assistance, now the indigos, they were a little bit more warrior. And I see that in me. Sometimes I'm like, you don't always have to be like warrior mode, like let it be
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
And it was more to come and really kind of be like the what the fuck? Like that's not right. Like, does no one see the problem here? And really being so firm in your integrity and moral code to the point that it's obnoxious because we have to stand up for what's right and wrong. And with that came some spiritual gifts as well. Indigo children are very psychic. And as you know, if you watch my story or you've heard it, I landed on this planet with access to a different mom and, things that I was like, I can't tell people because this makes me sound crazy. But now that I understand that those are gifts that indigos were given to be able to come and do the service they volunteered for, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So the indigos were here to kind of start to bring harmony more so by awareness and by starting things that the rainbows will finish later. So we'll get to them. So it was a time where we needed that. There was before them, there was the Blu-rays, and that was strictly DNA and blood work. Like, let's prepare humanity for a higher vibrating human form. And so they kind of came in right after World War II because we needed support. The crystal children came after the indigos, and they are okay. If you have children that love and are just drawn to crystals and you've never taught them about it, they just love them. They're probably a crystal, and that, no coincidence. They're called the crystals. They have a very crystal aura. Indigos have a lot of indigo light. So it is very much named after their light essence.
Okay.
And the crystal children also very psychic. A lot of them are, they don't like confrontation. They're very high frequency. And that is where we started to see a lot of autism and ADHD because there's so much energy in their human form that they don't know what to do with it. And for me, it's actually painful to hear how many children get put on medication that I know are here to be the change makers. So I really hope that our school system will start to work with them a little bit more because they're a gift. And I'm not saying that all crystal children are that. They're not. They're different. I mean, I have my Thomas, for example, he, for fun, designs theme parks and he goes really in depth and he creates these roller coasters and it looks like architecture. And I'm like, okay, you're here to design the new earth. I get it. But like, what? How did you even know how to do that? I mean, it's just a different knowing, and they're here to kind of really implement change that the indigo started. So there's not a huge difference. It's just like a slow raise of vibration. It couldn't all come in at once. The crystal children are also, they love animals like a lot. I mean, and I know a lot of kids are like, ooh, dogs, but they have this connection to nature and animals
Wow.
that is just like on another level.
I'm feeling my daughter may be that a crystal child. I mean,
Yeah.
I taught her about crystals, but she's always been drawn to nature and animals and
Yeah.
very
And
much pendulums, all the things.
yeah, if they have like a draw to it, I mean, it's worth exploring too and asking her, like, hey, did you have any dreams? Or what is your vision for our world in 10 years? Just like have the conversation with them and start to
Yeah.
empower them to know that their voice matters. Because that's another thing, and understanding that the children we're bringing in are going to be change makers. So not to treat them like they're idiots or like they need to subscribe to a certain way. It's like, let's see what they want to do and how they think this should look, and let's learn from it because they are messengers too. And then the rainbow children, which are a little bit more recent, kind of started around COVID. Now this is not, I have, because I always research after I receive. I haven't seen anything about this, but I received it fully that around the time, around COVID and beyond just COVID, but there was a time period where a lot of people were checking out young, and a lot of, like, I'm talking 30s, and for reasons that you thought they were happy or whatever, it was just, I don't know, I noticed the trend and I asked my guys, I'm like, are we making room for these rainbow? And I got a huge confirmation because they're literally, the rainbow children is kind of helping finish what the indigo started, not really finish, but take it to another level. And it's what we're really working towards. So they have rainbow auras, of course, go figure. And they're very much just pure love. And they're like they're babies right now. So all babies are love. So it's kind of hard to really decipher, like, are you a rainbow or are you just an innocent baby? But they're the people that walk in a room and just fill it with pure love. And you're just like, wow, yay, love. And that's kind of what they're here to usher, that pure heart energy. That's very high vibrational. Yeah.
Wow.
So
So
it's
people,
not funny. We started with the indigos, like, I am warrior. I'm here to fight for what's right. And now like the rainbow are like, let it be. It's love. I'm like, yeah, it's
so
great.
would you explain it in like generations? Kind of like now we're moving towards a new type of child?
I wouldn't really call it, well,
How do
by
we describe it?
default, it is generational,
Yeah.
but it's really waves of consciousness and we have to build up to it. And it's not like everybody that was born from here to here is that, they're still their way of, they're volunteers and Not
Mhm.
everybody is here to fulfill that service, but, some of us, and I think you have that as well. It's like we have to serve. Like I
Yeah.
cannot stay in a place where I feel like I'm not serving. That's one of the reasons, with Fierce in the City, the fashion show I used to produce. I'm like, all right, I feel like this has served what it needed to serve. Now I
Yeah.
need to go serve into bigger waters. And
Yeah.
just this obnoxious desire to change the world and serve that is bigger than you. And if it doesn't align with that, you just can't
Yeah.
partake and feel good about yourself.
Something I love so much about you, you talk a lot about honoring your rise, and we're all rising in some capacity. You rose as a fashion designer. You said that was kind of completed. You've risen as a mother, and we'll talk about that. And I want to dive into your podcast because you really do, you listen to your guides. And I hope those listening, you really tune into the listening. Your guides are always there to guide you to lead you to the path. And you felt this calling to create not a podcast, but a portal cast, which I just think is incredible. Like, why in spirit? So you go beyond the story. And your guide said, we're doing this together. We're speaking out. I feel this calling to support humanity, wake up the masses, like share a little bit about like you just had to create this. Share about that.
So the vision with
Yeah.
the portal cast, I mean, I really got it in pieces. At first, I knew I had to start. Had is a loose word, right? You don't have to do anything, but I knew that was the next assignment, the podcast. And I
Yeah.
think when I saw you at the podcast movement, I was there with Tony,
Yes.
because originally I'm like, I think this is something that I want to do with someone. I don't want to do it alone. It feels too big. It feels too scary. And Tony, let's start a podcast. So, he's my partner. So I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I really sold it to him really good. And as we're there and I'm looking around and I feel like my guides, so they're always talking to me. I really can't turn it off. I mean, all day, all night. And I love it because when they don't talk to me like I'm used to, I know that my vibe is off and I know that
Oh,
it's not
that's
like,
powerful.
yeah.
That's powerful.
So I embrace hearing them. And that's how I know, oh, yeah, you've been low vibe or something's in your space that does not support your channel, or you've been overindulging on whatever that's not mission aligned, like whatever. I kind of keeps me in check. And so I was there and I feel like they were watching, like, are you done? Like pretending that this isn't your assignment only. I'm like, no, not done. We're going to do all this like 4 days together. And then I realized even the energy that it was taking for me to try to get him on the same page as I was. I'm like, this is not, doesn't feel like the flow they want. They want the flow where it's just like, they just want to speak through me. And literally when I got in my studio, the first day to record, I was going to shoot 1 to 2, hit record. I shot 20 episodes. It was like this like massive, like, I don't know. At some point I'm like, I should probably stop because I'm sure I'm looking a little tired. But I went to go put on a robe.
Wow.
Actually, the episode I posted today about mom guilt, I'm wearing a robe. I'm like, no one knows it's a robe. And I just was like, I had to keep going. I couldn't stop. And
Yeah.
so when I received that assignment, of course, my human brain, as any, we kind of always humanize our downloads
Mhm.
to some capacity.
Mhm.
I started thinking, how can I do this with support? And not realizing the support I need was already there on another
Mhm.
realm. Then I started thinking, how often do I have time? Who's going to listen? Who really cares? All the things. And then what am I going to call it? And as soon as I asked the question, what do you want it to be called? I was driving with my kids to the grocery store and we saw a liquor store called Wine and Spirits. And
Oh,
I was like, oh my God, that's it. And I asked my kids, do you guys think this is a good idea? And I always let my kids channel for me. They're like, yeah, that's great. So I'm like, okay,
wow.
Wine and Spirits. And I still had resistance to the word podcast because I know a lot of awesome podcasters such as yourself. And I feel like I want to support them. Why do I need to start my own? Why do I need to add more to the mix? Let me just support them. And they kind of gave me the vision of a portal cast where you are going to bring a why question or a wine and transmute it into spiritual understanding and spirits. And it's a portal.
Yeah.
You leave different than you enter. Can
Wow.
you do that? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I got my
Wow.
so I did, and as soon as I just let the pieces click into place, just like off to the races. So
So
the
good.
work wasn't getting out of my human brain as usual.
Your podcast is portal. I can't, I got to get in the habit of saying
Portal
portal.
cast, come on, but you can do it. Portal cast.
A portal, a bridge to another reality, right? And I love what your kind of tagline is about, going beyond the story.
hmm
And
Yeah.
that's so key. Like it requires us to do the unraveling, right? To break things down and go beyond the story. And I know a lot of women who are on their fertility path, there's a lot of story involved
Yes.
about, you know, for example, with IVF, that this path is going to be hard and it's going to be painful. And there's definitely challenging times, but
Yeah.
it's not to say that this is the way it's got to be. And
Right.
motherhood, your path to motherhood can be so beautiful. So I just love, I would love to talk about this, about how important it is to really go beyond the story we're telling ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I think the story is key, especially for women that are in their fertility path, because it's your story and then it's your spouse's story, it's your doctor's story, it's your family stories. Everybody, for some reason, when you're in like this most important time of your life of ushering in a life, feels like it's a open door to like just give their feedback and their opinion. And okay, maybe they do it out of love. They probably do. Everybody thinks they know what's best. But it's a lot to process because you're in your journey, which already has multiple layers. And then you have to think about other people's interpretations of your choices and will it be supported? It's a lot. So I definitely feel like the biggest story and for women in their fertility journey is the story with themselves and the soul that they're having this energetic contractual agreement with. And understanding that that agreement is beyond them being in your physical womb. The minute you have an calling or desire to be a mother, guess what? You're a mother. And you have a soul, whether it's a guide, whether it's a soul that's in another realm waiting for their entry point, whether it's a soul that's going to show up through your spirit guide, that mother energy works with your cosmic womb. I'm going beyond the physical, your cosmic womb, and it ushers in a soul or a light being that already has that agreement with you. And then part of it is, do they want to incarnate at this point? Maybe it's their time, maybe it's not. And so allowing that relationship, first off, with your desire to be a mother and your willingness to step up and offer your cosmic womb, you're a mother. Next is letting it have its journey of how it wants to show up, when it wants to show up, doing your part, of course. Like, okay, I have to go do the deed. I have to go get IVF, whatever you feel like is part of your journey, respectfully so do it,
Yeah.
but take the pressure off that there is one successful time, place, way, because this is beyond the story of motherhood as we know it on this planet. You are in a contractual agreement with a light being somewhere. So take that pressure off. You're a mother. Do you have the desire? Do you have the heart, a nurturing heart? You're a mother. Some souls, like not all women want that. And I find that very fascinating. Why would there be, I ask my guys, like, why would there be women that want it so bad and can't? And then there's women that don't want it and can. And it's really the understanding that the cosmic womb is here to serve light. And you just offering it up, want to be a mother, already makes you that mother. Okay. So that's step one of going beyond the
Wow.
story of whether or not you're a mother. It's in the heart and it's here. And so, okay, go change your profile. You're a mother because you want to be. Yes, I'm a mom. uh, then there's the whole frequency calibration, which I know I talked a little bit about. And I was kind of shown that because I had my stillbirth and I had a journey of understanding that loss and what it meant. And so, the first time I was 35 weeks when I had my stillbirth and my second, and it was a fluke. That's what they called it. I'm like, a fluke? Like, I want answers. And they're like, it's a fluke. So when I had him, of course, I went to my darkest place, feeling like my body failed me, feeling like God failed me. I'm a good human. Clearly, I'm being punished. So what's the point of even trying? And just wanted to check out. I probably would have, I really didn't want to be here, but I had my daughter. She really kept me wanting to get better. But I had 3 months, no, maybe 2 months of just like not wanting to talk to anyone. I want to take calls from my parents, nobody, because I was just in this dark place, and the darkness comes from not understanding and sadness. So like, why would this happen? So I had my son Jacob after him, and I would go deeper into that, but that would take time about my whole healing journey, what I did with that. I do have an episode on that coming, but at Jacob, I'm like, great, it is healing. No child replaces another, but it is healing to know that and to still believe in your ability to birth humans and that they don't have to die and that it doesn't have to be sad. And then Later, I had Thomas. When Thomas was born, I knew. I saw him. He came out. He didn't cry. It was the weirdest thing. Even the doctors were like, "Why is he not crying?" I'm like, "Oh, because he's already been here. Like, he's
Oh,
not crying because he's just been waiting for this entrance, and now it's pretty underwhelming because he was a light being, and now he's getting like smushed and shit on, and like who like would want that? So he's just confused. Give him a minute."
oh my
Um, but so he came out. We had an energetic agreement. I knew, and from that moment on, Thomas, to me, I knew it was Jemariah, and he was so clingy in the best of ways, but he also ushered in a complete energy upgrade for me. And so I didn't really put the pieces together. For a while, my story went from I had my stillbirth, I had that loss because it wasn't the baby's time, or you know what, all the things people say. Then when I had Thomas, my story became, oh, I think that was Jemariah, yeah, but it just wasn't his time, and now it's his time. Then, like a couple years later, after doing more work and spiritual work, my story became, oh, no, he was ready in 2009, but I wasn't. So he had to give me time and then come back when I was ready to then, later you get the part of the story you're ready to receive, right? So finally, my
Um,
most recent and like beautiful story that my guides give to me, it's like, what makes you think he ever left? And then I went through this journey of my life since having that stillbirth in 2009, and that helped me step up as a healer. I started my women's support group. I understood the importance of being, broken physically so that you can step up to serve. And that's how you really help humanity, not by like having it all figured out, but by knowing what it's like to piece yourself back together. All the work that came from that. Then when I had Thomas, even I get confused with my kids' names. I had
oh,
Thomas in 2012. I was a completely different human. I was starting my
wow.
empowerment path. And then I realized, okay, he was there between 2009 to 2012. He was there. We were working together. We did that support group together. Then he came in when I was ready for my next, in the flesh frequency upgrade, and we were doing other level work. But he never left. And they showed me how he never left. And it was this feeling,
Mm,
this weight off my shoulders of like, okay, so there was never a separation. That was just my story of feeling like I have this child if he's physically in my arms. If he's not in my arms, I don't have this child. He is lost.
mm.
But, the reality is that the minute that you have your child in a way where you don't have to see him in your physical arms, he can be anywhere, she can be anywhere, it can be anywhere. The child is not lost. You are found, and you
Mm.
understand that you are a light connection to that soul. And what a beautiful thing to receive. And it really, I began to just shatter all those stories of like, he wasn't ready, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, no, I wanted to have a child, or the child wanted to have this contract with me. And we kicked it off in 2009.
What you're sharing is so significant. I mean, having a child at how many weeks? 35 weeks at
Yeah. Mhm.
Jeremiah.
26. Yeah.
How old was Izzy when you went through that?
She was 18 months.
Wow.
Even my getting pregnant with Jemariah was a huge surprise for me. I was nursing in on the pill. So
Mm,
that was another reason why I got angry a little bit with, God. The time
mm,
I put this on one God. I'm like, why would you have me get pregnant when I was actually trying not to, only to then lose the child? Like, what fucked up game are you running up there? I don't like
mm,
it. And then I understood, oh, like this, it was the soul agreement. It was time. So nothing in the physical could stop it, not nursing, not a pill. And the same way that nothing can stop what is meant to be,
mm.
like it can start at any point. And you don't have to put these limitations on yourself if you have an understanding that is beyond our physical human story.
Can I ask you, you say that Thomas, when he was born, you saw, you knew it was Jeremiah. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Does Thomas, can you share, how does he feel? He knows the connection, obviously, between
Yeah.
you, Jeremiah. And I don't know. I'm curious. Do you have
That's
conversations
a
about
great
that?
question. It's funny because I don't drill it in too much. I don't want to creep him out, be like,
Yeah.
because I don't want him to think I'm like his mom that maybe like never transcended that loss. And now like, you're going to be Jemariah.
Yeah. I was just curious if you're
But
open to
he
share.
does have a deeper understanding. And I think he doesn't question it ever. And he just is that kid. For example, okay, I was just in Cabo and I went whale watching and I sent the kids a video and everybody's reaction, was very much to them. Izzy was like, cool. Jacob was
Yeah.
like, how scary, I would never. Thomas was like, wow, how was it? Did you have a spiritual connection with the whale? Which I actually did. And like,
Wow.
I started crying and I was like, little
Mm,
things like that where I feel like he asks questions in a way that I think
mm.
he knows. He doesn't hold back, but he's also still a kid, so I let him be a kid, and I don't want him to.
How old are they now again? Tell me their ages.
So Thomas is 11, Jacob's 13, Izzy's 16.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
For women listening, I mean, I know many women that have had losses, who've had embryo losses, who've had where the embryo doesn't implant. Maybe they get to hear a heartbeat or they don't hear the heartbeat. And there's so many stages along the way on your path to motherhood where you just want this little child, this soul to hold on and to meet this little one. And what can you advise to women as far as, you say they're always a part of you and that I don't have the words like you do, the soul contracts, but there's always that soul connection there.
Mhm.
Um, how any kind of words of comfort or just guidance from your guides to speak to these women who maybe
Mhm.
have not brought their baby here earthside yet,
Yeah.
but can you share a
Yeah.
little bit on that?
Yeah. I think touching back to what I had said earlier, with going beyond the story of the physical
Mm,
journey, which the physical journey is very prominent. I mean, you have your appointments, it's consuming. It is consuming and you can't ignore the signs. So to really connect with the energy of the child that you're trying to usher in at a soul level and then go through the experience with them. So you have an embryo or something that, didn't stick and you have we'll call it trauma. It's trauma. The trauma of moving that, healing from that. How could it be different for you if you allowed yourself the opportunity to go through this challenge, which challenges are here to teach us, for us to grow, and for us to experience the full spectrum of emotions, which unfortunately there's a side that's really unpleasant.
mm,
Imagine that you have to go through this sorrow and learn that side of the emotional spectrum, which is designed to be this mirror of the cosmic loss of the universe. So you know that if you're down here, you're going to be up here soon. It's
mm,
just how it works. But imagine being able to go through that with that soul. How
mm,
different could it look? Talk to it, experience it with them, not experience it with the lack of, because that
mm,
just adds more pain to it. So, if you had a guide, a spirit guide, and they're with you through the good and bad, and we don't so much put the pressure on them as far as causing the bad, right? They don't have that. So if you could think at the soul level of this baby you want already with you, they're your guide. They're going through it with you because they're also trying to plan their entry. They're also
mm,
potentially waiting, or they already know when it's going to happen, but they know there's some sort of emotional spectrum that needs to be experienced from your end to receive the frequency upgrade that the soul is bringing, because frequency upgrades do require a wider spectrum of emotions. So let's say mommy was in this spectrum of emotions, and to be at a level to calibrate with me, maybe we want her here. So she's going to design experiences that are going to help her explore one end of the spectrum that maybe
mm,
she hasn't yet. Okay, so you're doing it with them and they're like holding your hand energetically and spiritually, and they're with you. And yeah, like you want to create a nursery and you want to have the Instagrammable moments, you want to share with the world, but how much more special is it to know that you have a relationship with this being that transcends time, space, physical, and that as you're going through this, we'll call it boot camp of emotion, to come
mm,
out stronger in the end, they're with you.
mm,
They're with you, they're holding space with you, they're also working on theirs. I mean, you're already like a mother-child team.
mm,
Motherhood transcends time and space. Your
mm,
womb transcends the physical. It's a cosmic womb. And the sooner you can start making that connection, the faster, I'm not going to say easier, but the faster you can move through these things, because
mm,
easier is not the goal. It's
mm.
it's faster. You
Yeah.
want to give yourself the gift of feeling the depth of the sorrow so that you can feel the enlightenment of the joy that's going to come after.
Wow. And what can I ask if there was one thing that supported you in your healing? And I'm sure you'll be covering a lot of this in depth on your episode on this topic, but is there something that women can take from you that what supported you
What
in your
supported
healing?
me when I
Mm-hmm.
had my loss
Mm-hmm.
was truly leaning into the brokenness. So I didn't want to, for a while, my first month or two in bed when I was bleeding out my uterus, cabbage leaves on my boobs because the milk was coming, and
Mm-hmm.
people wanting to talk to me and call me, bring me food. I'm like, I can't eat. So I had my darkness. And then I decided to put my darkness to serve instead of suppressing it, instead of being like, okay, enough of that. I actually decided, you know what? Let me see how I can find others that are on this path, because I had my husband, but he was healing. He's a man, and I'm not saying men don't have feelings, but they are more operational. So, he compartmentalized all the things, and it's like he put it in a box. Like, it's time to close that one. I'm going back to work like a robot. And then I was like, you're leaving me here alone in this emotional hell. Like, that's not cool. But to be honest, he never was that emotional, support for me. So I realized, okay, this is where I'm at. Let me not judge it. How can I show up for others that are where I'm at? And so, to not judge your darkness, but look at it as an invitation to serving in a different way and finding others that are there, because you're never alone. But
Yeah.
sometimes darkness makes you put yourself in a place that feels very alone, because you're
Mm-hmm.
ashamed. You don't want to go places and people to see you cry randomly. Cry. I think I cried getting my nails done a couple times, or like I cried, and I just decided to make healing fierce. So I started this group, and planned these, would write letters to the soul of the baby, would do all these things, I'd take pictures, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I'm kind of making this like trend now. Like, people are gonna want to have like a loss so they can be in this group. How the hell did we do that?
Wow. I love that you're writing soul letters to the soul. I did that through IVF, writing to our future little one.
That is so powerful. Yes, keep doing that.
Not knowing who, or we were just trying to get one healthy embryo. And then once I knew that we had one, I was just writing to that one.
Yeah.
And I have at least 3 letters that I go back to. I'm like, they're so special.
That's the connection.
Yeah.
Anything that you do to help, if you're like a hiker, go on a hike with the soul. If you are a
Mhm.
biker, if you like, just, keep it high vibe. Don't go drinking with the soul of the baby. That could get bad.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Don't go get hammered with, so I'm drinking with my baby.
Oh
No.
wow. Oh boy. Okay. I mean, what you're talking about too, emotions. And I've heard you talk about how our heart is our compass, right? For our
Mhm.
emotions. And that it's so important to honor all of the emotions, and going through IVF, which you haven't lived personally, thankfully, but you truly do ride this roller coaster of emotions. And it is allowing the full spectrum, the full experience of we're human, right?
Mm.
Like the dark, and for those women who do feel such heavy emotions, like just kind of allowing that into, right? We don't want to bypass, we want to feel everything. That really helps us, I think, in moving forward, like
Mhm.
keeping our channel open. You talked about that too, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I think, emotions,
Mm.
our heart intelligence is our compass to our energy work here. So
Mm.
acknowledging the feeling, and a lot of times, I guess it will be sadness, but sometimes it's anxiety, sometimes it's frustration, rage, whatever it is. And so start with the emotion and actually write about it. Today I'm feeling this, and this is why, this is how it feels, or write a
Mm.
letter to the emotion, because it is an energy. And that
Mm.
can be gifting you a new way to deal with certain emotions, certain energies that
Yeah.
you will then be able to work through faster. I mean, have you met people that don't handle frustration very good, and some that do? I,
Oh yeah.
and it is a practice. These
Yeah.
emotions are
Mhm.
taking you to something to work on it. So maybe through this journey, which my heart goes out to all the women going through it, because I've had close friends, and I haven't experienced it myself, but I have heard, like,
Yeah.
week by week, and the waiting, and
Yeah.
it's the draining of the physical, emotional, mental, financial. It's
Yeah.
here to drain you. So how do you take the drain
Mhm.
and have it feed you in some way? Create your energetic exchange. Otherwise, it will feel like it's just draining. And a lot
Mm.
of things in life, it's the same way. I do it with some things I work on. Then I'm like, okay, I feel, is this depleting me, or some things I've gone through? I'm like, how, my guides are like, how do you create the energetic exchange? So I'm like, all right,
Mm,
how is this depletion going to feed me? And creating
mm,
that is such an empowering, transcending act.
mm. You talked about allowing in the rage, and from attending 2 of your divine sweat activations, one of the most powerful things that we did was stomping out the rage, yelling, screaming. Like, it is
Mhm.
an incredible experience. And if you're in Colorado, message me and I'll bring you along to the next one. Divine
What?
sweat. But yes, like, can you share? Because dance has been such a part of your life, and the
Yeah,
power of divine sweat. What is that to you?
yeah.
Allowing the rage, allowing the emotion.
I sweat, and it's a tone up from the soul up. It's really about, I've done dance before, and it was time for me to upgrade my dance offerings. And when it was shown to me, I was like, yeah, this is it, because it's dance from
Mm,
an energetic form. It's not to be pretty. And a lot of the things or the dances that I create, they're very energy, emotion based. So it's like this one, you're
mm,
going to feel like this. And then the
mm,
movement follows. The importance of, okay, they're not all raging, but for some reason the rage one really sticks with women. And I'm like, I love it. This tells you how much suppressed female energy there is in the collective, that I hear so much about the rage one, but I think at the next activation, we're going to be raging more. But actually, okay, so I'm
yeah.
not going too deep into how I started Divine Sweat, because I feel like I've talked about it a lot and I want to give you better. I
Okay.
people can find out, go to the
Yeah.
website, but
Yeah.
I get these words of what we're activating. So this next one, February 17th, they're like, you're going to activate primal energy.
Mm,
I start with that. I'm like, all right. And then I have these deep, energetic work sessions with my guides, and it's more about connecting to that feeling and then creating the energy work around it. And it's just led by the intention of the feeling. Now, granted, I do have some dances that are a little more, I've choreographed movement, but even that, women don't really know, like, the
mm,
energy centers they're truly activating, because we don't want it to be work. We don't want it for you to think, okay, now I'm going to work on opening my solar plexus. I'm like, no, just do the move, teach them
yeah.
the move, have fun, Salwa. And we've already like choreographed it in a way where it's going to shake that light center no matter what. But I do guide it with intention, and always led with intention.
Mm,
The best part about it is the women that come that have never allowed themselves to move, and I think they have to have dance experience, and just seeing how much they got out of it, because it's in there. Our bodies store so much emotion, so much trauma. It's in our bodies. We have to move. Like, you can
yeah.
talk about it, yeah, but you have to like move through it.
Release. You got to release.
Release. And then the energy work at the end, it's one of the most potent points of the whole activation, and women just get to sit and receive. And that really is like, if I was to take 20 minutes to do an
Mm,
activation, it would have to be more of that, because I know
mm,
the energy that we've worked really hard to bring to that sacred container. And the whole point of Divine Sweat really, for me, is to gift women a gateway into a different kind of work through themselves that they maybe haven't had access to. So whether it's the dance part, the meditation, or the energy work, just kind of really bringing in pieces that just awaken your awareness, like, oh, yeah, that felt good, or I need that. And then there's a remembrance with every activation that you won't even know. Your life will just be a little different, or things will show up. And I love hearing from women, like things that change. I'm like, yeah, that's amazing. That's why it's an activation, because you're not going to leave the same.
mm. That word activation, that's powerful. You're awakening. You're helping women come alive.
Like code activator, baby.
Like code activate.
That's what I did.
You spoke just a minute ago about the power of intention,
Yeah.
and share with me why you believe, like, why is this so powerful? This is a practice I teach others going through their fertility paths. And as you know, created the Moon Magic and Manifestation group, which you are the next guest expert in February for that. And I feel I just want more women to be open to the potential and the power of setting intentions.
Yeah. An intention, it's simply a big to-do statement for your energetic being.
Mm,
And where attention goes, energy flows. So imagine you're just energy, just like putzing around. It's still going to do what it's going to do. But imagine if you gave it a to do, a to go, like a goal, it's
yeah.
going to be that much more potent. And you have to know, believe, or at least be open to believing that you're mind, body, soul. You're not just a body, right?
Yeah.
And so your soul is a third of you, and that's your energy, and that's the part of you that can really be off doing something else. It
Mm,
really can be guiding you if your intention isn't set, like I'm going to get through today and I'm going to love myself more today than yesterday. That's an intention. But if you don't have that intention and something happened, or you're not feeling validated at work, on social, and your family, without an intention like that in place, you're going to end the day feeling not
mm,
loved, not great. So little things like that, it's just creating a powerful, powerful to do statement for your energy, and your energetic body is working for you or
yeah.
with you when you're not even aware of it. So just setting that intention, it's like already programmed in, and you
Mm,
go on your physical self and trust that your energetic being will
mm,
follow because you have set that intention. Another part of intention setting for me that's key is that when I set my intentions, I'm also consensualizing support. So, and I
mm,
have disagreement with my guys, like, this is my intention for this. And they always want me to be clear because then they know where to meet me. If they don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, it's hard for them to really offer support, because then it just seems like I'm just off exploring whatever shows up, right? Which is fine. That can be your intention too. But
yeah.
intention really does verbalize. It's almost like a prayer. It's an ask for support.
Mm,
This is
mm,
what I want this to be. This is my why.
yeah.
Consensualize you all showing up, however, is in the highest good of this intention.
That's really powerful. You speak it out loud, right? For
Yeah,
yourself.
I speak it or I write it.
Yeah.
I don't even know, or sometimes I might just no, I think it too. It's hard
Mm,
for me to know the difference. I talk a lot,
mm.
not knowing, even in my
Yeah.
sleep. I'm like, no, like, but
Yeah.
it's express it somehow. You can
Yeah.
dance it, you can like scribble it. You don't have to write the words, but like, I
Mhm.
want this, and just express it. Give it life with expression, whatever that looks like.
Are you into having words for the year? Like a word? Like a lot of people do a word for the year. Is that something you do?
Yeah, I have my codes. So I have my codes that are, drawn out for the year, but
Really?
I do have like a statement that has come up a lot for me. And I'm like, wait, but I thought we didn't like that word. And they
Oh,
just keep telling me, let it be easy. Let it be
yeah.
easy. And I'm like, what? I think they're talking about my life and my business because I'm so used to like go, go, go.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's
Yeah.
just
I
that
love that. And I think those who are listening can maybe adopt that mindset too. Like, let it be easy. Let your
yeah,
fertility pass.
it's
Can we
not
let it?
hard. And that's the thing that also I think we're all being exposed to so much. I mean, think about even
Mm,
social, and they keep adding things like, what the heck is threads?
mhm.
I don't even know. And so we're just being over bombarded
Yeah.
with things in our space that kind of take us away from that unified pillar of just being and knowing that everything you need is there for you if
Yeah.
you're present. But if you have things that take you away from being present, it's kind of counterproductive.
I think what's hitting me too is just a reminder for those listening to remind yourself you have the power within you. You have spirit guides all around you, those who want to help you. You're not doing this path alone. And there's so many of these external distractions. It's like if we just remove all of that and get quiet and go within, like
Yeah.
this is where the answers come. It's
Yeah.
always there.
It's always there, and express where you're at to them. They want to hear. And I have days where I will actually like speak out loud. I'm not in a very good place today, you guys, and I know we have big work to do. So I'm open to receiving support because I'm either like I find myself moody, or I find myself judging my progress or doing things. And I, instead of just dealing with it alone,
Mhm.
I express it. This is where I'm at today. I could use some
Yeah.
support.
That's what I
And
love about you, Salwa. Like you keep it so real. You're human. You're, what do you say, imperfect human. You talk to spirits. You talk to them more than probably humans, you say on your
I do.
podcast, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're here for it. I don't
But
think
like, yeah, yeah, you're so
our,
connected and so real.
well, I think, our spirit guides don't listen more when we show up in our like eloquent, high vibe filtered way. Like they can take it, give it to them. They love personality. And we're the ones that get to be here living out personality. They don't so much have that in other realms. So they get a giggle out of it. Me and my guys laugh all the time. And I know half the time they're laughing at me, but they love it because I get to give like this part of personality life in the physical and they don't, but we banter a lot. And so
Gosh.
I think just having that human relationship with your guides, even though we know and acknowledge they're not, our little pal that lives next door, but they watch you go to the bathroom. I mean, come on, the jig is up. They know you're not like this perfect, like eloquent all the time person. So just let them have it and let them surprise you with how they show up.
Your story is so fascinating. I hope more people will jump into especially your episode 1, which you break down your whole story. And weren't you cared for by nuns? I mean, right? Like you go away.
When I was born, yeah. Well, I was
Where
supposed
you're
to
born.
die. I was
Say that
born.
again.
When I was born, I was supposed to die. So they just, instead of going to my mom, I went to nuns for 10 days, like to prepare me for death. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Can you just share that real quick? You were supposed
I
to die.
thought you watched the
I
story.
did, but I don't remember that. Why you're supposed to
No, no, no.
die.
I'm totally kidding, Lisa. I like, don't expect you to. I'm not going to fact check you on my episodes. Yeah. Well, I was not going to make it. I'm putting that in quotations, according to the doctors. So they took me in an ambulance and off to this special ICU unit, children's hospital for 10 days. And my mom didn't get to meet me, which
Oh,
I don't think they would do that now, but they didn't want her to quote unquote get attached because I wasn't going to make it. And so the nuns baptized me and did, whatever they thought that needed
yeah.
to be done
Yeah.
to me to get me ready for, death.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like in the physical traumatic, but I'm actually like, what a gift.
What a gift.
I
Right.
wonder what else we were doing. I mean, were we doing plant medicine ceremonies, me and the nuns? Like, what were we doing?
And do you have like memories of that time
No, the
at
first
all?
Sunday, no, I don't. I
I
mean, the
don't
early,
know. I mean, you were so
yeah, I
connected. I'm
do.
like,
So
yeah,
I do have, my earliest, I was still in crib the first time I saw Christ. I saw Yeshua, the light being.
yeah,
I was in my crib because I remember seeing my crib sticks and I remember seeing him and then he
yeah,
like it was on top of me. I'm like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
so that's a good question because yeah, I do have memories that go back beyond like when you would think. But
Right.
A1 through 10, not so much.
Probably not that time.
Not so maybe I'll time travel. I don't know. Maybe I'll go back to
Wow.
maybe
Oh
I'll
my,
ask for that. Yeah. Awesome.
wow. I love this conversation so much. And you spoke in December at the gala. I got to hear, and you had a definition when people say, what do you do? Can you
Mhm.
share that with those listening? Because I loved that description you gave.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
people say like, what do you do? Or who are you? Was that the question? What do you do?
Yeah, so I was saying that the higher you evolve, the harder it becomes to answer the
Yeah.
question, what do you do? And I know I struck for a while, I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah.
like, what? And
Yeah.
what you really want to say and what you actually do is that you're an energetic frequency and you create physical manifestations of that frequency, whatever it might look like.
Mhm.
And that's
That was
what you,
like, boom, like mic
yeah,
drop. Like all of us were like, yes.
that is what you do. That is who you are. That is what you do. Thank you. Next. We're all just little vibrators, just here to ascend.
Yeah. You're right.
My visuals. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my I can't really. What, Paula? Come on. Just saw a bunch of
Oh
different
my
color
gosh.
little vibrators everywhere.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just love you. And
Love you.
thank you for opening your heart, being you. Like, so grateful that we're friends. And
Well, thank you. And for the work that you do. And
mm,
you're just an open heart. I mean, I don't really know that we met that many times before. You were just like in front of me in tears. And I was like, oh my God, this woman's just a walking open heart. I love
oh,
it.
thank you. Or do you have any last final words for any like women that are ushering these beautiful children in the world who,
Yeah, I will
yeah.
just continue to remind them to go beyond the story. The minute that you felt a connection to being a mother, you
Mm,
became a mother, and
mm,
you're a mother in a sense that transcends this physical world. You're a mother to a light being that is either your guide, that's in your space through your pet, whatever it is, you're a mother. So honor that motherhood, honor
mm.
your cosmic womb by going through your journey without ever feeling a lack of. It's already with you.
Oh my gosh. So beautiful. And I'll connect all of your info on how people can,
Yes,
follow you, your portal cast, your website. You're beautiful. Love you.
I love you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.